Welcome to a community conversation. I'm Michael Witch for LMC Media, and joining me on screen today are two representatives from the Community Resource Center, formerly the Hispanic Resource Center, but now it's the Community Resource Center, and for good reason. You'll learn why. With me is Durandi Martinez, who is the Executive Director, and Nicole Tuck, who is the Director of Development. And women, you are here today because on May 2nd, CRC is hosting a movie night at the Emelin Theater. And Durandi, can you tell us a little about the movie?
Sure. Well, first, thank you so much to LMC Media for always being wonderful partners and hosts so that we can talk a little bit more about what we're doing at our local community-based nonprofits. CRC is celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we are really excited to be hosting our first ever movie screening of Las Abogadas, which is Spanish for the attorneys or the lawyers. And we're kind of just showcasing these attorneys who are at the Mexican-US border and are supporting families, new migrant families that are kind of arriving at the borders, seeking asylum and trying to cross over. It's a very relevant story to today, as I think we all know that the migrant situation is still happening. We do see families arriving, continuously arriving for many years, as they always have. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of share their journey, share their stories. Stories are so important for us to understand how to help families and how to come together as a community. And I'm sure Nicole has other details that we can talk through.
Sure. Well, with that introduction, Nicole, I know that CRC does more than just work in the Mamaroneck and Larchmont. Can you tell us a little about what's going on there for the rest of the county?
So for the rest of the county, and I'm going to default to Durandi for some of this, just for a wider perspective. We do get called upon from other neighborhoods to provide our programming and services that aren't available to them. Most recently, we were just called upon, Durandi just had a meeting with the Pelham community asking for some support, and I'll let her just fill you in on a little bit of what they're seeing.
Yeah, I actually... Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, so here in Mamaroneck, since May 2022, we have seen new migrant families arriving in New York City. And I think New York City was estimated to welcome around 15,000 people that were being shipped from Florida and Texas and other parts of the US. So families are coming up to New York, and then by default kind of ending up in Westchester County because they are either hearing that there are community-based nonprofits that can support them or help them out. Families are arriving with basically nothing, no clothes, no food, no documentation, but are asylum seekers mostly. And so Mamaroneck, since the families that we know of, we've seen about 37 individuals or 20 families come to Mamaroneck, but we actually don't have the highest numbers. Pelham has around 60 families that are new arrivals. And these are families that are coming with children, are integrating their children into the school district, enrolling them, looking for work opportunities, certainly seeking asylum and legal services, but families that are really fleeing persecution, violence, and even murder in their communities in their native countries. So CRC is happy to welcome these families, integrate them into our workforce development opportunities and our worker center. That's actually their first ask when they come here is shelter, support for shelter and emergency housing. And then how do I find work so I can sustain myself and my family? I need training. English classes, and that's how CRC is supporting these families, both in Mamaroneck and with partner organizations around Pelham and the surrounding community.
CRC suffered a terrible loss of facilities during the last major storm that we had here. So you're rebuilding at the same time that you're working with all of these new immigrants.
That's right. We are still in our rebuild phase. We're still at the St. Thomas Church in Mamaroneck, and so grateful to be here. But that certainly hasn't stopped the need for our services, and it hasn't stopped us from responding to that need. And we're so lucky to count our community partners like the St. Thomas Church, the Mamaroneck Library, our local Larchmont Mamaroneck Food Pantry for additional space so that we can provide these English classes, job training, and when needed, meet families where they are. So if there are a number of families in Pelham, we will go over to Pelham with our case managers to help families kind of get situated, understand what services are around, and how we can connect them to those services and programs.
Mm-hmm. Nicole, as the Director of Development, I guess your job is a busy one. Are you essentially looking to raise additional funds or design projects, or what?
So we are still raising some funds for our rebuild. And of course, we always raise our funds for operating costs to, be able to run our programs and services. So it's ongoing. We use a lot. We have a tremendous amount of independent donors, which is amazing, from the community. And we are building out a bit of some corporate sponsorship opportunities as well to try and even build our programs.
And people should know that the CRC is a nonprofit organization. So any donation is a charitable one, and it qualifies for taxes. I'm sorry, continue, Nicole.
No, you are correct. Thank you for pointing that out. That's very important. Yeah. We will have some events coming up as well, being that it's our 25th year. We kicked it off with a birthday party that a lot of the community came and celebrated with us. This is our kind of second event, just educating the community on, where our clients are coming from. And then this summer, I hope people stay tuned for our golf event and, of course, our annual gala in November. Which are also, big events that raise funds for us as well.
It sounds like a busy lineup. Talking about the border, I think that a lot of people just don't understand what's going on down there. So the film is going to tell the story of these attorneys who I think work on both sides of the border. Is that right, Gerandi?
Yes, that is correct. They are on both sides.
You're muted somehow, Gerandi.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yes.
Yes, that's correct. They are on both sides of the border. And I think what this film is going to show is that kind of fault that happens at the border. I think a lot of people kind of have misunderstandings about why people are coming up, why new migrant families are seeking asylum, and that they should kind of just wait or come in the right way. And the right way is really to show up at a border when you are seeking asylum. So these attorneys are kind of setting up camp, providing legal services, advocating for the families, and then you get this kind of the reality of what people are going through to come to the U.S. We're showing this film not to be political. It's more about telling the story, celebrating advocacy, and what community members can do together to help families that are asylum seekers, refugees. This is also an opportunity for us to learn together, because there are also families that are non-Spanish speakers at the border that are migrants from Africa. And it just shows a completely different side of what that border situation is. And since families are coming up to parts of New York and Westchester County, including our hometown, it's really helpful for us to understand the trajectory of their story so that we can support each other with maybe some trauma that they might experience, or support services. So I would really invite anyone from the local school district, public libraries, the PTA council, to join in so that we can learn together and continue to be this great community that we are in Mamaroneck, where we're helping each other in integrating families in a healthy way.
And let's also mention that after the movie, there's a question and answer with the filmmaker herself and also one of the lawyers who participated in the movie.
That's correct. So the director will be on Zoom, as well as one of the Rebecca, who is one of the lawyers who in the film who takes her van across the border. But the film really started pre-production in 2019 with the director just wanting to bring a humanitarian face to the crisis across the border. And she happened to meet these 4 lawyers who do pro bono work on both sides. And this one particular lawyer, Rebecca, was taking her VW van across the border every day and kind of setting up a mobile law office. And, you know, they kind of just met each other on the other side of the border. And it resonates so much with us because these lawyers, these 4 lawyers that it follows, all do this as pro bono work. And, you know, we use a lot of pro bono lawyers on this end. So it just really is a very similar situation just on the other side. We're kind of picking up once they come over.
Well, it sounds very interesting. And there are cocktails, I understand, in the lobby even before the meeting or before the film. So again, on May 2nd at the Emelin Theater, a film, Las Abogadas, did I say that right?
Yep, that's right.
For the Community Resource Center. Thank you, Durandi, and thank you, Nicole, for spending some time with us on Community Conversation.
Thank you so much, Michael and LMC Media, and we hope to see you there. Get ready to be inspired.